And welcome back, everybody. We once again here in the Palatial Studios, where we do our show each and every week. It's the relationship party with your boy Rod, your girl Charmaine, and this is where it is.
What it is, not what it's supposed to be. Oh, you've been out of practice.
They
Put
know
on.
what I'm talking about. They know what I'm talking about. But y'all in for a treat today because it's getting to be tax time, and we got the tax extraordinaire here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Mr. Brian Joe Barry, and we're gonna talk about taxes, how your taxes and relationships and money and all that stuff intertwine. So we definitely want to give it up to our very special guest today, Mr. Brian Joe Barry.
Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for having me.
So, B, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and give them some information on your company.
All right. So I am the founder and owner of LB Tax and Business Advisors. We're a 27-year-old tax firm that specializes in business taxes, real estate, stopping husband and wife from fighting, over the taxes. We specialize in all of that. And like I said, man, this is my love. This is my passion. I love doing taxes. And it's the one thing that our community don't put enough emphasis and focus on, but it's the one thing that affects us every single day. And so this is why I'm extremely passionate about the tax game. I have locations. My main office here in Atlanta area is in Smyrna, inside the RB Solution Center. And also we have locations in other states as well, Las Vegas, LA, Houston. So, we've been at this for a minute, man, and, love doing it, love helping and being a blessing.
Right. And I love that not only have you come so far and done well, that the way you give back to the community is really, really huge. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But B, I know that some things have transpired. They change tax codes and everything every year. What would you say are some that people need to be aware about um, for this tax season?
Yeah, well, the one thing that people really have to, and people are talking and calling about is what they call the BOI, which is the beneficial ownership information form. So now that's something new that the government has put in, and it's not directly the IRS, but it's a part of the government called the FinCEN, is the financial institution of the government. And what they're doing now, they're requiring LLCs to have to register now with the government, and you're going to have to give all your details of your company, your name. You're going to have to submit either a passport or a driver's license,
Oh,
because what they're trying to do is crack down on so much fraud. So it's so much money laundering going on. There's so much
Mhm.
fraud. These shelf companies that people are putting together to create fraud. So now they're keeping a better track on companies, and they're making these companies register. So now they can associate and put a picture with that now.
oh my.
So that's something that they're doing that's really big. People have been calling. And what happens is, if you already have your LLC established, you have until 2025 to do
Okay.
it. If you just started January 1st or beyond and you did an LLC, you have to get that done within the first 90 days, or you will be penalized $500 a day,
Oh,
up to $10,000. So what's going to be big is that everybody making sure that they keep track of everything. And then what's going to happen is 2025, if you've already been an LLC, you're going to have to do it within the first 90 days. And then after, if you don't, you get penalized those $500 a day until you get it done.
mm,
So
So this is why you have to have friends like this, right? Because we don't know what's going on. He said FIN and something, something,
yeah,
something. Just
yeah,
fix it,
yes,
Brian. Just fix it, please.
yes,
Right?
yes.
I
yeah.
love that. Okay. So that's a huge one.
But
So
but I'm gonna tell you what else is gonna be huge that they don't talk about, that we gonna sleep on. Like the last 2 years, they've pushed it back, but now they're gonna start sending you a 1099 for
Oh, yeah.
Cash App, Venmo, all of those, PayPal, and you've been hearing about this for the last couple of years. Last year they were supposed to do it. They ended up pushing it back because they wasn't sure how to basically keep track of all the personal stuff. If y'all send y'all children something Cash App,
right.
they was going to get a 1099 saying they received money, but
Wow.
that was going to be an issue. So they had to go back and say, all right, know what? How can we do this? So they came up with another plan that was supposed to be in effect this year, and they was going to find a way to subtract it out. So they pushed it back again, saying now they're going to change it to, instead of, now you used to have to get $600, you would have to give somebody a 1099. Now it's going to be 5,000. So if you make over 5,000 in any of those sources, so all y'all that's receiving money in your business that get Cash App and Venmo and PayPal that never had to file it because you never got a statement from the government, they're going to start giving you a statement. What they're trying to do is track everything now.
Well, okay, so even your kids, because my kids
Yeah,
is going to be
that's,
upset.
yeah,
'cause-
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, but it's a way for them to subtract it out though.
okay.
So
okay.
it's a way. So they have a way which they've devised that way already. They're going to probably enhance it now that they have another year to do so. But it was a way that you can say, all right, well, I received $10,000, but 8,000 that was personal. And it was a line that you could subtract the personal amount out, but you still would have to file it because you're still gonna get the form.
Right.
Well, wow, because some of our children gonna be because my Cash App big, and I don't
Yeah.
get no receipt. I don't
Raina.
get none on the receipt. Get
Raina, you hear that? You
Yeah,
owe
so
taxes
it's
on
big.
all them cash apps we got you. But let me ask you this, and I want to go back to what you said about the LLCs. How is that going to affect, and without getting too deep into the weeds, if you have an LLC that's formed that's in a trust, how is that going to affect you personally?
Well, it won't because there's certain things that you won't have to worry about doing. If you're a nonprofit, you don't have to worry about it. And then I think a trust, you don't have to, because then the trust is, and it's going to be special rules for those type of businesses. But a trust, I don't think you have to worry about that. And I know for a fact nonprofits.
Right.
But if it's a single member LLC, you don't have to worry. Now, if you have a multi-member LLC, a S corp, any of those type of things, definitely those are to be the ones that you have to file. But it's going to be a catch-22 because if you're a single member LLC,
Right.
you're still liable for everything
Mm.
personally. Plus, you're paying double tax on any profit. So that's where the catch-22 is. If I stay that way, I don't have to worry about filing that. In which I tell people, if you don't have nothing to hide,
Don't
Right.
worry.
don't worry about filing. Go
Right.
ahead and get it filed. And so that's the type of thing. That's why you need a professional as opposed to a
Yes.
tax preparer, because they can set you up in the best scenario and let you know why that's going to help you full time.
Yeah. Listen, everybody want to be an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Now you're gonna have to pay the taxes. You're gonna have
Yeah.
to play the game. Like
Yeah.
you have to learn the rules or get with people. Like I said, don't you figure out nothing. Go to the tax professional and let them. They know all the stuff. You've been doing it for 20 some years. You be trying to file yourself and save them couple $100. Don't do it. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
It's another thing I want to, before I forget it real quick, because you said you're the owner of LMB, tax service, and your office here in Smyrna is in the LMB building. Can you tell the people, we know what that means,
Uh-huh.
but can you tell the people what that actually means? Because some people may have gone over their head.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, man, don't be getting me sued by my ex-wife, man. Talking about LNB, man. That was the old name, man.
My fault.
I had to get that up. And then I ended up having to pay some extra money. That's all right. Let's let it go.
See, there go the relationship part. See, we tying it
All right,
in.
so yeah, LB Tax and Business Advisors is the tax company, but the office is located inside of the RB Solution Center. And so the RB Solution Center is the building I acquired. And what it does is it houses other businesses with permanent office space, temporary office space, addresses, event space. Actually, we had an event there today. A young lady had a Zumba class she did there. So, we're very creative in the things that you can do. But what it is the RB Solution Center actually gives space for whatever you need, man. That's why it's called a solution center, because I don't care what you're trying to do. If you need a virtual address, we got it, which is the biggest thing right now.
Right.
And the events, classes, seminars, private office space. If you need somewhere to just meet clients so you don't want to be bootleg no more,
Right.
you can have a professional area, a conference room, and we actually had a movie director come in the other day to shoot different scenes in a different room. So it's versatile in what it can do.
Right.
But we blessed to have an office in there, because we don't have to pay rent if we don't want to. So that's always a good thing.
And I wanted people to hear that, because again, the RB Solution Center, you start off in that building as someone who was, renting office space in the building, and then you bought the building.
Yeah.
And that's big, because
Yes.
again, that's a whole nother, I'm sure you can tie that in some way to taxes and how that benefits you from not just renting space, but also owning the spaces that that you're dealing in.
Yeah, and it's good that you said that, man, because again, what happens is we never really think about that aspect of it, and the reason why I say that from a tax standpoint, we're so used to writing off everything. We're so
Right.
used to basically saying we get the big refund or we ain't paying no taxes. But my thing is that are you positioning yourself to make major moves?
Right.
Right.
Because see, everybody's claiming they want to buy real estate, they want to buy property, they want to buy apartment building, they want to buy a fourplex, they want to do all these things, but your taxes don't say
Did you
buy
read
this
it?
stuff.
Absolutely.
Your
We
tax-
go through it all the time.
Yeah, your taxes don't say that, and so that's major because when it was time for me to present my paperwork, I didn't have to play reactive.
Right.
I didn't have to play reactive. I was proactive. So when they said it, boom, my taxes looked good. My credit was good. Boom, I hit them with it. And it was a deal that went through fairly quickly because we didn't have to try to manufacture everything and get everything together. So how you construct your taxes means a lot when you're growing. And this is what I talk to all my business owners. People will tell you, my first question is, what are you trying to do?
Right.
Because even if you're not trying to do that, if you're trying to purchase just your primary home, that matters.
Yes.
If
Right.
you're trying to refinance,
It
because
matters.
one of the people that really been good to me are banks, lending companies, mortgage companies, because they get so many people who want to refi now and want to buy property. But because everybody has a business or a side hustle, everybody's writing off everything. So now these banks, these lenders, these mortgage companies calling us, Brian, I need you to amend, these taxes because they wrote off everything. And believe me, it's much easier to know what you're dealing with up front.
Right.
You have to
Yes.
come back and amend. Now I got to pay back the 5,000 I got as a refund plus the 7,000 or 8,000 that I would have owed. So now I got to do 2 years. So now I owe $30,000, 25 to $30,000 because I got to come back and amend. And most people are like, I ain't trying to do that.
So
you
now
know,
they don't get
Yeah.
it done.
and they don't get it done. So now you're upset because you can't make these things happen. So that matters because again, if I got equity in my house, this is why they talk about homes being an asset because I should be able to get the money that I've accumulated in my house, take that money, pay off bills, start a business, do something with that money. But if I don't have access to that money, my house is no longer an asset to
Right.
me.
Mm.
Absolutely.
It's,
Absolutely.
it's not an asset, it's a liability because if I'm paying on it every month and it's not giving you nothing in return, that's a liability.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But hold that thought. Because we gotta play some commercial break. I mean, pay some bills
Pay some bills.
because we're gonna be coming over to the R&B solution if we don't. Guys, we'll be right back in just
Yeah.
a moment.
If you're looking for a realtor who's patient, caring, knowledgeable, who's an expert negotiator, and doesn't quit until the job is done, then you're looking for my favorite realtor, Stephanie Thomas, whose motto is, it's not about being ready, it's about getting ready.
All right, everybody, and we are back. Charmaine was fiddling with that with our timer there, but guys, we are back having some stimulating conversation about taxes. I know for most people, taxes is a boring subject, but guess what? If your taxes ain't right, you gonna wish you had sat and look at this over and over again with Mr. Brian Jobert. And also, Brian, let them know because I think you do something on Facebook weekly
Mhm.
concerning taxes. Let the people know how they, when that is and how they can tune into that.
Yeah, it's on Tuesday nights at 6:00. Probably in another couple of weeks, I'll change it to 7. But right now, every Tuesday at 6, and it's called All My Solution Shit.
Okay.
And basically because I always said, you know what? We got to give out solutions. Everybody know what the problem is. You sit around with a group of people and everybody will tell you what's wrong, what's going on. But if we don't know solutions, it don't matter.
Right.
We still
Yeah,
got the same
It
problem.
don't matter. And basically, solutions basically is, I mean, when I say solution shit is SHYT.
Right.
And that's basically success and happiness yields thriving.
Mm.
That's what shit is. So it's shit in a nice way.
We like that. So now I know we were talking about the taxes and money is important in relationships.
Oh yeah.
And so what would you say for couples? Because I know we talk about the couples and taxes and that kind of thing. What kind of solutions or advice would you be giving them to pay attention to that kind of thing?
Yeah, and it's very pivotal that you understand taxes as a married couple. Because again, if I'm around here having all these taxes taken out and you ain't having no taxes taken out, and now this is a we game. So if
Right.
one of us are not doing what we're supposed to do, it's going to affect the other person. And see, in taxes, it's supposed to be no you and I, because once we file together, your issue is my issue. So
So can't y'all just file separate?
yeah, well, you can. I'm gonna get
Oh,
into that.
okay,
But
okay.
joint is usually your better way. That's usually the better way to file. And so what happens is when we want to file joint, but then you didn't have no taxes taken out. I had a bunch of taxes taken out. I'm thinking refund.
Right.
Now you didn't affected my refund. And I've seen people like it's an issue. Like I don't
Right.
like we it's we until that money's involved.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, and so what happens is you can do married filing separate.
Right.
The problem is with married filing separate. Married filing separate is the worst filing status of all of them.
Oh,
The government actually penalize you for being married and not filing together. You get a lower standard deduction, you get taxed at a higher tax rate, and you get disallowed for a bunch of credits and deductions, a
wow.
bunch of stuff. So if you do marriage separate, like one of the things is if you have rental property, like all your rental property loss, you get no credit for it.
Wow.
Education expense, if you have kids in school, you can't get no credit for your education. Student loan deduction, you can't get no credit.
Wow.
Child care, you can't get no credit. You know, so it's earned income credit, you can't get no credit.
So
It-
you need to
it-
be careful who you marrying, is what you're
e-
saying?
exactly. Ex-
Let me ask you this then. So if married filing separately is bad, which one is better if you file jointly, but the one spouse don't have any deductions, or is it married filing separately the better way to go in that?
Well,
particular
and it
case?
depends because it's not going to work out horrific for everybody every time. Even
Right.
though I may still file marriage separate, I may get back. I still may get something back. I might take a little hit, but it ain't gonna cost me as much. So just say, for instance, I file separate and I get $2,500 back when I normally get 5,000. But if I filed with you, we gonna owe 3,000.
Okay, got that. Yeah.
Now, the problem usually when you do separate, the reason why it's still sometimes it's better that people go joint, because if you really on the we thing with the relationship, what happens is that if we go separate, I might get $2,500 refund, which I normally get a little bit more. But you're gonna end up owing because you didn't pay no taxes, plus we're separate, you're gonna end up owing $8,000. But it's like, all right, well, you messed up. I get mine, but overall, as a we, it's hurting us because if we did joint, which is better, but we may only owe 3,000 together.
And you
Mhm.
give my 2,500 and then you pay the rest.
They ain't doing that. They ain't doing that.
See,
So
see how they think,
so-
Brian.
That's
See
how
how they
we go.
think.
The we start
Yes.
to be you and I.
So
You-
the 3,000 overall is better because if you take the 25 from the 8,000, now we have about $5,500 we owe.
Mhm.
So you getting some money, but overall we still
Right.
losing.
Yeah.
Because if we do joint, we're gonna owe 3,000, which is better than the 55 if you subtract yours.
Right.
But some people be like, well, I don't care. That's you gotta pay
Right.
that.
Said
Yeah,
that right.
Right.
exactly. You know, some people be
Yeah.
like, well, that's on you. You know,
Yeah.
you know, but sometimes you do get some spouses, but overall we got to think about it because when we start thinking about building wealth,
Right.
we can't take losses like that. You know, we can't give up $5,500, 4,000
Right.
because that can be household income we can be putting into retirement and investing, you know, and so that's why we have to look at the bigger scheme of things, man, that this is seriously important. And so when we talk about, you know, working with clients, one of the things I always do, I'll tell them I'll look at it both ways
Right.
and I'll let them know, and then I'll let them make the decision from there. One of the other financial things that we still haven't grasped is understanding how to work on one income.
Okay.
Like that,
Yeah.
that's really big. And I sent like a lot of people who are in my mentee network, I send them a lot of videos on financial stuff on Instagram. And so I sent them one and it was what's the white guy name that do the financial investing stuff. The popular one. I can't think of his name. Y'all know who I'm talking
I know
about.
you're talking about. I can't think his name though.
Yeah, but he was interviewing this lady, and she was talking about how her and her husband is worth $4.3 million. And she was just talking about how the house is the value of the house is 1.3, how their net worth is 4.3, and their investment stuff is worth millions.
Right.
She said because one of the things they did was they lived a life. Both her and her husband both were making over 100,000.
Okay.
But what they did was they lived off of one income.
Mhm.
So that way they learned to basically keep a whole nother income to invest.
Mm.
That's
And now
good.
they work millions of dollars, have millions of dollars in their portfolio. And that's major.
Yeah.
That's
You
major.
gotta sacrifice to get where you're
Mhm.
trying to go. And unfortunately, I'm like you, Brian. I don't think we talk about it enough.
Mhm.
And so there's just a little information. Everybody's getting flued out and hopping on these trips and not really thinking because they haven't been able to do things in so long. But my thing would be to not overdo it. Like do everything according to what you have, but you have to put these things in your plan, or it's no good, especially our entrepreneurs.
Newsflash. Black folks are extra.
Yes.
Yeah, you said not overdo it. We extra. And
Since Africa, the kings and queens with all the
Yeah.
jewelry and yeah.
so we got to do it on that level. And I'm not telling people basically, I'm not telling you go for the lowest thing, but what happens is you got to think of you're going to live a long time. And right now what's happening is that we're not planning for the next 20, 30 years. So this is why you finding now more 65, 70, 75-year-old working
Right.
with still nothing, really no ending in sight.
Right.
Even at that, I got 70-year-olds still paying mortgages, because we got to look at that. And I tell people, you got to be mindful because taxes is taking anywhere from 40 to 60% of your money.
Mhm.
Right.
So if you're working a life time and you're doing 100% of the work and somebody's taking 50% of your money, don't be on social media talking about hashtag winning. You ain't winning. If you're doing 100% of the work and bringing home 50% of the money, that's not winning.
Surviving.
Yeah, like that's why so many of us now are surviving because we're not understanding the tax game.
Right.
And if you listen to most successful people,
Right.
the one thing they always talk about, the millionaires, billionaires, successful people, rich people, they always talk about tax savings, tax strategies, paying zero tax. Because they understand if something is taking 40 to 60% of your money,
Right.
you know how much harder you have to
Right.
work to try
Right.
to build something? Because
Right.
everything that you buy is based on 100%,
Right.
but you bringing home 60.
Right.
So ain't nobody saying where you go to the grocery store, well, yeah, I know this costs, $200, but we're going to give you a 40% savings because
Right.
your income. No, this is why we in trouble because we're not focusing on how to leverage our taxes.
And
And is
that-
that important?
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of times when people working for themselves, people talking about, yeah, I make six figures. Not really. Really, you don't.
You gross
So-
6 figures.
Right.
Yeah.
Gross
You
it, but
grossing and maybe not paying your taxes, but you not. So this six figures that you make, I make six. They need to have a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 in the front because that
Mhm.
one ain't hitting on.
Exactly.
That one in front of the six figures ain't
because
hitting
just like
on.
Brian just broke down, if they taking 40% of your income in taxes, you make 6 figures, you bringing home 60.
Mhm.
So you don't actually make 6 figures.
So
I mean,
for-
you make it in gross, but you're not bringing home 6
Yeah.
figures.
And what happens is that everything that they sell you, because see, you ain't even bringing home 60. We just talking about your taxes.
Right.
So now if you're talking about your dental health plan, your 401k, all that stuff that's coming out of there, you're probably bringing home about 45% of your income. So you're trying to live off 45%. But what happens is when you go purchase a house, they say, oh, you make 150,000.
right.
So they based it on 150. So they sell you a house based on 150. You bring home 60% of that if you're lucky. You
Right.
get a car. They say, oh, well, for what you make, you can get the top of the line. You get the top of the line based on your gross.
Right.
And see, we wondering why things are not adding up because that 120 that's on our W-2 is not 120.
Right.
That 120 now is a 75.
Right.
And we'll keep wondering why. This is why we see so many people say, well, they make good money, but they always broke. They can't go nowhere. They can't do nothing. And because again, people are living above their means. And this is what a living above your means is. It's not that you're trying to do too much, is that you're not factoring all those things. You're bringing home 75, but you're living $120,000 lifestyle. Where you make 120, you're living a 130 lifestyle, but you're bringing home 75.
Right.
It'll never
And
add up.
paying attention. Like
It'll-
you said, it's
yeah.
right. And so that means I got to get a Sentra.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but there's nothing wrong with that, though. Seriously.
Let me ask you this too. Because you're like, you live a decent lifestyle. You go where you want to go when you want to go. But for those who make a average, living,
What's that? Define average meaning about what?
the average median income is probably about $60,000.
Just
Right.
hearing it.
So let's say somebody makes 60 and 60, 70, and they want to travel. How can they take their income and give them a tax strategy how they can take their income and travel, not like you because you're different,
Yeah.
but travel a decent amount of time and use tax strategies to help them in there, offset some of that money.
Yeah, and the one thing I took was like one of the things I did was I said when I learned the tax game, I said all of the money that I'll save from taxes, I'm gonna divide that into two things: my retirement and my travel. So one of the things that you do is learn, like implement the business.
Mhm.
Implement the business, things you're doing every day. Start a business. And so now if I'm using my car, my computer, my internet, my phone, all of those things. Now, if I say I got a business and I'm running a business, a legitimate business, I'm doing the thing, I'm using the things I got every day. So now what happens is if I got tax breaks, I don't have to let them take out as much out of my check now
Right.
because I got things to help offset it. So now if I'm able to take an extra 20% home because I got a tax break, I can take that 20% as opposed to thinking I got extra money,
Right.
take 10%, put it into retirement, take 10% and say, I'm gonna put toward travel. And you do that every pay period, and you wouldn't believe how much money you would end up saving.
Right.
Because the thing is, travel don't have to be expensive no more.
Right.
Right.
It's so many perks to travel. One of the things I do as well, like with all my bills, like if you say, well, you know what? I pay every month, I pay my bills by cash or debit card. No, I pay my bills by credit card that I was going to use my cash or debit card. So I use my points that I pay those bills with. And since I was going to use cash anyway, I just put that on the bill that I use for the business. I got all the points. So now I'm accumulating points. So now I got free hotel stay, free airline stay, resorts, because I got points, I got miles, I got those type of things. So you can use those type of strategies. The problem is that we still in the mindset of credit is bad. And so from that standpoint, we've been told like pay cash, but the game has changed, for one. So we got to change our psyche, and then we got to stop putting something on it.
Right.
So and that's why we have to still have the debt when we do that.
Right.
Because if I was gonna pay my light bill, which was $300, and I was gonna use my debit and I was gonna pay $300 on the debit. So even if I put it on the card, be disciplined enough to use that debit card. I mean that money to pay off that card. And that way you don't have that overlapping expense every month.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah, that's really good. So guys, what we're gonna do, because we gotta pay some more bills, so we can take our tax strategy with paying these bills and make the show even bigger. But we're gonna be right back in just a few minutes with our special guest, Mr. Brian Joubert.
Yes.
These fees are killing me. I really need to find a broker who does not charge fees.
Connections Realty Group.
I just really want a brokerage that has great culture and that knows how to have fun.
Connections
See
Realty
you
Group.
tomorrow. What I'm really looking for is a broker who has a great commission split.
Connections Realty Group.
I just really need a brokerage that offers leads so I can jumpstart my business.
Connections Realty Group. Connections Realty Group.
Welcome back to the Relationship Party. We're hanging out with our friend Brian Joubert.
Yes.
He's always giving the gems and all of that. So first I want to say, do you have sons?
Do I have sons?
Yes.
Not that I know of.
Okay, I'm just making sure because the stuff that you spit, I know the women said, I need that compliment. Right. Okay, so let's talk about some of the common deductions because I think, like you said, sometimes you're just doing things and you don't necessarily look at some of the small things that you should really be deducting.
Yeah.
So what are some of the common ones?
And like a lot of times, we just got to flip our mindset, man. And when we talk about mindset, people undervalue it. Everybody says you got to change your mindset. You know, that's so cliche,
Right.
but it's very true.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got to start thinking in that sense. And that's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. They consistently think of ways on how I can save money, how I can be better. And it's so crazy because I was reading something and I agree 100%. And it was talking about one of the things in our community, especially, is the things that you need to be successful are the things we consider lame. This is why a lot of women don't get the good guy. And so Michael B. Jordan talked about this. It was another actor that talked about this and it was like, I don't party.
Right.
I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't hang out. You know, I don't do those things. And so that in our community, you consider lame.
Right.
If you don't do most of those things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's lame. But you know how much money you save? You know how much time you can concentrate on whatever you're trying to do?
Right.
So now if I'm trying to start a business, you know how much more time I have if I don't party, if I don't go out drink, if I just study my craft?
Right.
So we got to get away from things like that, thinking that's lame. And when you're trying to find a mate, that's what you want to look for. You know, and so this is why I pose those questions sometimes when I talk about financial and I talk about taxes. Like, you know, I talked about this once before and I had like a mixed review when I said about using a coupon on the first date.
Right.
Yeah. And someone was like, not the first date. Nah, you know, not the first date. I don't mind a man using, but I'm like, know what you looking at? You're looking at somebody that's financially conscious.
Right.
Long term, that's what you want. And we all claim we want to keep it real. If that's who I am, you should respect that.
Yeah, that's
as
what I am.
opposed to if I'm a coupon dude, and then I come out and I won't be flashy with you in the beginning to impress you, but then I'm starting to now hit you with them coupons now that I got you. and now that I'm hitting you with all the savings, like, oh, well, you would change like we used to, you know, that's not keeping it real.
Right.
Well, see, I love that because that means he's so money conscious. That means he's not going to be taking out 5 other women.
Exactly.
Unless he got a lot of coupons.
Yeah.
Like, girl, he clipping too much. No, but seriously. And I think, like you said, I get it for the younger people because you're absolutely right. You're looking at the wrong thing. We're all talking about legacy. We're all talking about retirement. But then we get into this romantic thing of what it's supposed to look like. That is romantic.
Yeah.
Somebody else now, because a lot of times women are upset about, you know, having to take charge. The man not being ambitious enough. Man, if that ain't your strong suit, and you got a guy who's really watching the money, saying, I want to make sure that we secure. How sexy is that? Y'all don't care if his chin is hanging down here. Y'all's killing me with the butts, right? Let it. I think that's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean,
And you saying the coupon thing, if he was taking you out to, I don't know, what's a nice restaurant? Ruth Chris. If he's taking you to Ruth Chris anyway, does it really matter? You done ate this whatever
yeah, the steak wasn't
$100
all that-
steak.
Right.
The steak was the same. Did it taste different because he used a coupon or cash?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what you got to look
But
at.
they see that as being a tight. They said they consider that being tight, and which that's what you want. Though, be honest with you, when you want a partner full time, because what I had to learn was people used to call me frugal, and I thought frugal was a bad word until I really looked at it. And frugal just mean that you're money wise, you're money conscious. And I was like, damn, know what? I am, because I do think about the effects and how I can save and how I can do but that's how I can move
Right.
like I move,
Right.
you know. And so that's why we
And
gotta,
most people can't be it.
yeah,
So it works for us because I'm spending.
Mm.
yeah,
But I know he got some money. and it works because
tell
he's,
him our
he's
business.
frugal. I mean, I
Yeah.
just know he's not walking around
I'm
spending.
broke, y'all. I'm broke.
So when
Don't come
I
at
do
me.
what I'm doing, then it's okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, and you got to have a balance with that, because if you got, because that's why, and I talk about this with women who say, and I see, understand, I've been doing this 27 years. I've been an entrepreneur over 30 years. I've sat down with a lot of couples. And what happens is I hear women say, if I just had a spouse, if I just had somebody to help me, I'm like, nah, you need to ask for the right person to help you. I say, you know how many married couples that I know that's messed up financially? Because both of them are spenders, none of them are savers. So that means that you have twice the problem now.
Right.
So when you get into a hole, it's hard because now both of y'all down. So to try to get both of y'all out of a hole, like it don't happen. Like financially in our society, it used to be tax refunds. When people get into a hole, you get your refund, you're able to pay off some stuff. But now, because companies are not giving Christmas bonuses no more. Companies are not giving holiday bonuses no more like they used to. So you don't have lump sums to get you out of holes.
Right.
So now to have two people to be in a hole and two people to mismanage money, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Because now I don't have to just worry about your car note behind, mine behind too. So what we gonna do if we come up with a strategy is not gonna cover both of us.
And you, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just want to backtrack to something that we said a little earlier when we were talking about the taxes and how to shield some of that money. And you said you was talking about business.
Uh-huh.
Have your business, have your business. For those who don't have businesses, explain what they can do to get a business started so that they can redirect some of those taxes that come out. Because I think most people, when they say you got to start a business, they think, oh, I got to have all this money to start this business, so then I can start deducting. Kind of give them, some food for thought.
And that's good that you said that, man, because one of the things I try to tell people, even if you're a W-2 employee, like a lot of people love their job. They don't want to start businesses because they figured, I went to school for this, so I don't want to get a business. But what we have to understand, it all comes back to mindset. Like rich and successful people don't always start businesses to make a lot of money from their business. Sometimes they start businesses to save a lot of money. So if I basically don't have a business, I have a job. I understand I love my job, but again, I'm constantly struggling.
Right.
So to help, one thing that I do, because they took a lot of personal deductions away in 2018. So personal people don't have a lot to do. The one main thing is start a business. So if you have something you're passionate about, you start the business. You can go on the Secretary of State website and pay $100. 100.
Just one.
And get your LLC started. And then whatever you choose to do, if you like, don't overcomplicate it. Like I get people, I'm trying to come up with a name. Don't overcomplicate it. Make it simple. And then with the business, make it simple. You always say, I love traveling. Why not start a travel concierge business, a travel agent business?
Right.
Get into MLM. I'll tell people multi-level marketing. I don't endorse a particular one, but it's a beautiful industry because, again, it's already set up for you. Yep. They got a website for you. They got training for you. So now everything that you've been using and got no benefit from, your cell phone, your computer, your driving, your lunch, your meetings, all these things that you've been doing anyway, now you get a deduction for it. So this is why you're doing it, because now, again, I don't have to have them take out as much in taxes, because see, as you get older, you lose your deduction and you lose your dependents, because your dependents are older now. They didn't got busy and got their own kids. Right. So they ain't messing with you no more. Right. So now you don't have no deductions no more. So now you only can use your business. So now what you do is you take the business expenses, your car, your cell phone, your home office, you write that stuff off. That reduces your tax liability. That means now I can save more at the end of the year, or I can get more throughout the year. That's the game.
Right.
So I didn't necessarily make a lot of money in my business, but I was able to take a lot more of my take home pay from my job.
Right.
Or if I get a refund, I got a much bigger refund. Now I can invest that. Or if I usually I'm going to either owe less or break even now. So even if I don't have to pay the government $1,500 this year, that's $1,500 that I'm used to writing that I could take and put into an investment.
Right.
So the investment is the thing that's going to carry me on to where I'm not scared about my future. Right now, most people are fearful of their future because they don't see no retirement. They 401k, they still got 25, 30 years of good life left, but they 401k don't say quit and don't have all my money come in and still be able to live the lifestyle. So it's not about just retiring. And the one thing that I did, this is why I'm so passionate about working with single mothers with young kids and getting your stuff together now, because everything shows if you start putting stuff away for young kids now, by the age of 65, they will be a millionaire based on $100 a month. And so I was blessed to start in my 20s. Didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I would be 40 one day.
Mm-hmm.
Knew I needed to I knew I wanted to put money again for retirement. So now none of that really phases me about what's going to happen later.
Right.
And so
And it's
that's
good
just
that
so
you had
important.
that early on, because usually, in our 20s, we think we're invincible.
Mhm.
Right.
Nobody, we were just talking the other day, and sometimes when we talk to other entrepreneurs, they be like, yeah, on this year. And I'm like, yeah, I think we've been doing this wrong. We talking about this year. How about 5
Right.
years from now? The plan is not supposed to be for this year, like when
Mhm.
they setting their goals for January 1st. Well, this year, okay. Now I know you got to have some goals, but you got to have goals far beyond that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think, like you said, we have a lot of miscommunication, and misthinking.
Yeah, but it's a meme that's been out for years, but it said rich and successful. It said basically poor people plan for Saturday night, rich and successful people plan for future.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so we like you said, we planning in September. Yeah, we definitely going on. We going to this trip and whatever. But they planning 4-5 years down the line, like they gonna retire and they're gonna do 180-day cruise because they now put stuff in place.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is we don't think. And with young people, it's hard to, because I tell people, a lot of time when you 20 something, you don't see 40. 40 is old to you.
Right.
And you figure you have time. And you do have a little time, but if you started doing it now, because when you start hitting 40, the catch-up game is crazy.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough money because, again, we don't understand how we let the tax man take 50% of our money.
Right.
So we don't have enough money to put in lumps to play catch-up.
Right.
So this is why the tax game is so important. So again, when you start in your business, think about all the advertising you do when you help the schools, you help the church, and you say, well, you ain't gonna say help them, but they got a program going on. They got something, and they said we can advertise your business at the school. They got this going on. You're in the magazine. All of that stuff is tax deductible.
Right.
Your cell phone. You use your cell phone every day.
Right.
Every day. That's tax deductible.
Right.
You're driving your car every day. So we got to learn these expenses and deductions. And so this is one of the reasons why we send everybody to our website. When you tell us, well, I know what to write off. I know, and my thing is, how long you been doing taxes? Well, I don't do taxes. Well, you probably don't know every deduction.
Right.
So go to our website, lbtaxservice.com, and go look at the forms. Above the location, you'll see something that says business deductions, and it'll give you a whole list of stuff. And it's always that, I can write that off.
Right.
I didn't know I can do that. So the thing is that you're missing, and what, as they say, you're leaving money on the table.
Money on the
And
table.
at this point in life, we cannot afford to leave money on the table.
Absolutely.
Because we're in a scary time, and I keep saying, man, I'm scared for us as Black folks, and I speak relatively about Black people. I tell people I'm not anti nobody.
Right.
I just love my people, and I want us to win first.
Right.
Because again, every other community is taking care of their community.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
We're taking care of their community as well. So this is why it's gonna hurt, and the price of everything is going up.
Whew.
Everything is getting more expensive. Food, houses, renting, cars. But no, what's not going up? People
Wait.
money.
Yeah, wages is
People
not
money.
going up.
Because and it's funny you say that because everything is going up, and for the last probably year or so, I've been wanting a truck for some reason, just a pickup truck, right? So I said, let me go and see what they, I went on that the lot, and I saw the 6-figure for a truck.
Yeah.
I don't really need a truck. I just wanted one. Guess what? I don't have a truck because I'm not paying 6 figures for a pickup truck for something that I really don't need. But if I do, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna converse with you to see how I can best strategize tax wise, so where I'm not really paying for this truck.
Mhm.
The business is paying for
Yeah.
the truck or whatever.
Right.
And that's the thing that people have to understand. And that's why I wanted you to bring up that how people can start start a business and use that as their quote unquote tax shelter to
Mhm.
get more out of their money as opposed to just letting 40% of it go. Get
And you-
some of that back.
And you talked about the truck. I'm on the popcorn at the movie.
Everything.
Yeah.
Why popcorn
Everything.
$15 and the soda $10? And I was so mad. You remember we went to the movies?
I was just,
refused
yeah. And I'm glad you
to
tell
buy
it.
something to drink.
Yeah. And we didn't.
No,
No, we
I went
didn't.
back. I went back.
Did you go back?
I
'Cause-
did because
Whoa,
I
whoa.
was thirsty. Look, I was like, "Ain't no way! I paid $10 for the same."
Brian,
soda."
we went in
I
there.
was so damn thirsty. I had to go back.
And we looked at that menu and we get ready to go for this last commercial break. And I think I was the one that said, I'm not paying that much for a soda and some popcorn. And I didn't. It was just one of those things. I had the money to do it.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't going to do it. But she
Now we
went back and
sound
got us
like,
soda.
right, now we sound like our parents when we tell about I used to go with a quarter
Mhm.
and get them quarter days is over.
Yeah.
Jesus is
But-
$5 for a box.
But I tell people, like, for me, I never paid attention to buying. If I go to the grocery store, I'm gonna buy it.
I do too.
And now I know, like, I noticed stuff like, whoa, I don't remember being that high. And I'm gonna tell you what I noticed the other day. I was in Walmart, and Walmart have the section like where the desserts and stuff and the fruits and they got the little pies in the box. And remember, the pies used to be 50 cents.
Yes.
I was like, okay, they used to be, not that I was getting one, you know, I was getting one. But I looked on the sign, they're 87 cents now. And remember, they used to have that big old 50 cent up there.
How about
They're
this?
87 cents now.
Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and Dollar General are everything in there is more than $1.
Yeah, everything $1.25 and up.
I went in there 2 days ago. I bought 2 sodas, a Pepsi and a Mountain Dew. I paid $4 and some change.
Yeah,
I
because
said, "What
$2, $1.99, and you don't go to Quick Trip.
Oh,
Yeah,
The
yeah,
same
it's
candy
crazy.
bar was 79 cents or 99 cents. They
We're
like
gonna take
what?
this last break, or we're gonna keep going.
No, we're gonna take the last break because we gotta pay bills.
Okay, or we're gonna be in tax purgatory. Guys, we'll be right back.
If you're looking for a realtor who's patient, caring, knowledgeable, who's an expert negotiator, and doesn't quit until the job is done, then you're looking for my favorite realtor, Stephanie Thomas, whose motto is, it's not about being ready, it's about getting ready.
And we're back, everybody. We are back. It's a relationship party with your boy Rod and your girl Charmaine, and this is where it is. Where it is, what it is.
Not what it's supposed to be.
See, she normally mess up, and I did it twice. Okay. But guys, we're having a great conversation about taxes, and I hope you guys have been taking notes.
Yes.
What we want you to do is to like, share,
And subscribe.
and subscribe to the channel, and go and send this out to people because it is tax season right now. You know, you're in the thick of it, and if you don't have somebody, a professional, like Brian said earlier, and not a tax preparer, but a tax professional, give our boy Brian Joubert a call because he will definitely get you right. So we were talking about things going up, Brian, and as we went to the break, and I was talking about how I wanted to get a truck, and when I got it, I still don't have that truck because give us some tips on what we can do on when we make purchases like that, how we can benefit.
And this is why, again, it's so important that you start a business, because if you're going to make a purchase like that, man, and even going back, I had a couple the same way. This is why, again, money conscious couples are very important because some people are impulse buyers. Some people are impulse buyers. And I had a couple in there, and she wanted to buy a BMW, and the BMW was about 85,000, something like that. And he was like, why?
Right.
Okay, why do we need it? And so she was like, because I want another car. And then he was like, but right now, that's not a good purchase for us. And then he was like, if we do so, why don't we entertain the putting it in the business?
Right.
Where it would make sense now, and it would pay for itself to some extent.
Right.
And she was like, well, that will work, and so you got to be mindful of that. And that's how we got to think about every decision, man, because everything is higher. So when you talk about a truck, bro, like you saying 6 figures, and I did see some for 6 figures, but I was like 90,000, bro. Like I saw some.
That's 6
I'm like,
figures.
that's crazy trucks, bro. Pickup trucks now.
Pickup truck.
Are like that. So, we got to now make it make sense. And one way you make it make sense is getting it in your business name.
Right.
because now one of those things is if you're going to buy a vehicle, buy it this year. If you know you're going to buy it, be conscious of what you're going to buy, because there's a rule now. It's an expedited depreciation rule called Section 179, which allows you to buy a vehicle, and last year you just can write off 100% of the purchase of that vehiell.
Wow.
So if you basically paid 115 for it, you can write off 115.
Mm.
But this year it went to 80%, which is still good.
Right, right.
And every year after this, now it's going down 20%.
Mm.
Okay.
Till it gets to zero. That's important, man, because if I'm going to do it, be conscious.
Right.
Now, there's a couple of rules to that. One, it has to be over 6,000 pounds, which if you buy any pickup truck or SUV, most of them going to be over 6,000. And then you have to drive it at least 50% of time for business.
Right.
So again, if I don't have a business and I got an opportunity to write off, because again, if I'm a W-2 person and I buy this vehicle, it kind of goes in vain.
Right.
But just think, if I made 120,000, I buy this vehicle, I'm able to now write off the 115,000 as a loss on it. It can possibly reduce my W-2 income down to where I'm paying almost no taxes.
Right.
Right.
On the money I made. So on 120,000, even if I paid 12,000 in federal taxes and I don't pay no tax on that 120, that means I'm gonna get back as a refund that 12,000 based on making a smart business decision with my vehicle.
Ron, what's your phone number?
was just
'Cause we need some consultation.
Yeah.
Right, we need some consultation.
I might be getting that truck after all.
We need a hotline to you. Because
That was really major.
seriously.
Because what you just said, I hope everybody understood it, because he didn't just say, when you start that business, you put that vehicle in that business name, and if you make 120,000, you can reduce your own personal W-2 taxes. That is major.
And let me say this too. It don't have to be in the business name to do it. You just have to have a business though,
Right.
because you can still take write-offs as a business owner, even if it's not in the business name, as long as you're using it
Right.
for a business.
Right.
That's the premise behind it. If you're using it for a business. So that's very important. And see, this is the thing, like, man, you got to get even deeper. And this is why I say I make the big money, and
we know that.
why people
we know.
actually, and they like giving me their money though, and so, because the other part of that is that because when we start trying to buy things as business owners and we're making moves, we want to get loans.
Right.
We want to get lines of credit. We want to get business credit. But what happens is we start writing off everything.
Right.
And now we can't qualify to go out and get the building, the land, the property, the line of credit, the loan, because we're writing off everything. But see, if you don't have a tax professional, they're not talking to you about add backs. And what add backs are is specific deductions that lenders and banks look for to add back to your income. Because see, that deduction with the truck is what we call a depreciation deduction.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that lenders add back is depreciation and mileage. So that means now I show that I made 120,000, or if it's my business, 150,000. I write off $115,000 because of that deduction. It shows that I now only made about $10,000. But what happens is, because that is an add back deduction, they're going to take the 115 depreciation I took, add it back to my income, to where my income is going to show 125, but I'm paying tax on the 10.
What's your phone number?
Wow.
Yeah.
What's-
And that's why add backs and understanding what deductions to take. Like some of them going to take meal and entertainment. Mileage is mileage and depreciation are top two. And you know why they do that? For one reason is because it's not necessarily an out-of-pocket expense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I got depreciation, but I didn't spend
Mm-hmm.
the whole 115 on mileage. I'm driving, but I might get a $10,000 deduction for mileage.
Right.
But I didn't spend $10,000 driving. And see, right now, mileage is one of the best expenses. The mileage deduction for businesses is the best that it's ever been.
How much is it now?
It's 65.5%. I'm sorry, 62.5. It's
Wow.
which has never been that high before. And the thing about it is that means that for every dollar I spend, I get 62, almost 63% cent deduction from that. That means in Atlanta, at 10,000 miles is not a lot. Like driving from Smyrna to here, 4 trips is 10,000 miles. I felt like I drove 10,000 miles to get here on one trip.
Right.
So get it, granted, and I know y'all get out, y'all go to the city, y'all do different things. So when you start talking about driving 10,000 miles is not a lot at all.
Right.
But you know what I get? I get a $6,300 tax break.
Just
So if I did 20,000, that's 13,000. That's already a deduction that's
Right.
going to reduce my taxable income based on me not having to spend no money to do it.
So for people like real estate agents, you
Oh,
got to
yeah.
go out and show houses, taking that 62 cent, 63 cent per mile. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And show if you live in Conyers and you got to go to Douglasville.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
That's about 2,500 miles.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
I mean,
But that's who I'm on the most with, my real estate agents. And that's why I specialize in business taxes and real estate agents. If you see my cards, it'll say specializing in business taxes and real estate agents. And I always say real estate agents are my worst clients. I'm on record of always saying that for the last 20 years. And I'll say it. And because and I say it because real estate agents, they'll make $150,000 on a 1099, meaning no taxes was taken out throughout the year.
right.
You got a flat 150, no taxes. So at some point, do you think you might have to pay some taxes?
Yeah.
And so with that, now you come to me and I say, well, what are you willing to pay? Nothing. Like nothing. Heck,
Nothing.
what we
That works.
so all right, that's cool. I'm with that because I'm not a fan of saying you have to pay taxes.
Right.
If we can legally not have you pay taxes, I'm with that 100%. All right, my next question is what you kept up with?
Right.
Nothing. That's where we start having a problem. So now we got to try to write off $150,000 and you ain't keep up with nothing. You don't want to pay nothing.
Right.
Right. And so the thing is, that's why, and this has been a continuous thing for years. Now, agents are starting to get a lot smarter. I've educated a lot of agents about understanding LLC and yourself as an agent and how to play that game, how to play the S corporation game and pay your broker to your business and have your business pay you, because it's then some things we can start doing. Because what happens is agents get crushed a lot of times because they get the 1099 in their names personally and under their social. And anytime you do any independent work under your social and you show a profit, you're going to be double taxed. So even if I made 150,000, I wrote off 100,000, I get taxed on 50. The double tax on that 50 still going to be about $12,000, or more.
Right.
And if you didn't put nothing on the side, 12,000 seemed like a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
So even if you did 10% on your gross and you put 10% aside on 150, that's 15,000. If I put that aside for taxes, now you tell me, I tell you that you owe 12,000 and you got 15 set aside. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
Now you pay the 12, you got 3 to play with.
And you
And all this money is just not yours. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, 1099ers, entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
I need you to understand. This money is just not yours. Like, you only going to get away with it, but for so long. It's going to come back and bite you. And it's just not cool. So if you do things the right way, and then we have to learn the right way, because like you said, some people don't know. Brian, I want you to give everybody your information again, because, and I know sometimes you do a lot for the community. You give out a lot of information. I know it can be very daunting because you be like, is these people hearing me? But keep dropping them anyway.
Yeah.
Because you might not be helping people at the moment because they might be in whatever they in. But your information is so valuable and we need it. Before you give your information, though, you talked about how we have to flip the switch. Nobody can flip it for you except you. But in flipping that, what are some of the suggestions? And I know that you're going to say, so I'm not even going to say it. That for people to help flip the switch, like if you really want to be successful, there's some things you're going to have to do. Not even just about taxes, just as an entrepreneur, getting prepare for things, what are some of the things that you would say?
Change your circle. Change your circle. Stop being scared to leave people. And everybody has a place. I got partners that I love to death. But if it comes to business, that's not the same people
Right.
that I'm gonna put myself in those environments with. So you got to get in a position where you're around people that are successful, that's trying to get to where you be. And what happens is like with people around me, like I'm not good at filters.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you, when you come and tell me what you did and this and that, I'm gonna be like, all right, cool. Now what?
Right.
Or realistically, that's average.
No.
And you need people like that. When you tell
Yes.
me I put in 10 hours a day, man, like shit, like 10 hours, that's just the new average. That's from 8 used to be average. 10 is
Right.
average. Are you average?
Right.
But now, like shit, but that was like, I did that 2 days in a row. Like that to me, like, and so, I'm a basically hit you with that because I know what it takes. And see, and John, and I sent out a video, somebody sent to me, and I think I sent it out, but John Hope with the Hope Foundation,
Mhm.
he was talking. Now he's a multimillionaire, and he was talking, and he said 18 hours. He said 18 hours is the amount of hours you got to put in to not go on somebody's job. This is the kind of talk that, like, this is why I say I know people don't listen. So the other thing, when you surround yourself, you got to listen to successful people.
Mhm.
And when people tell me certain things, I say, you don't listen to personal development, motivational speakers, right? And it was like, well, yeah, I do. I say, no, because you wouldn't say that. Because if you listen to enough of them, you'll hear all of them say the same thing. The thing is, success leaves trails.
Yeah.
And most of these successful people leaves trails. And the thing is, you want to duplicate my success, but you don't want to duplicate my path.
Yeah.
And so, I didn't like you. I tell people, you see me 7 years on social media, but you didn't see all the work behind it.
Yeah.
You hear me talk about not getting up before 9 o'clock now, but I've earned all that.
Right.
Right.
I've got to a place where I can say my network is over $1 million. But again, until you start getting there, everybody want to be on the mountaintop, but nobody wants to climb the mountain.
Mhm.
So you got to get around people who want to climb the mountain. You got to get around people who's on top and see what they did to get there. And we don't put ourselves in those environments enough.
Absolutely. And like you said, y'all, and I want y'all to understand. So if you don't know the people, there's conferences,
Mhm.
there's reading, because I knew
Yeah.
you was gonna hit me with that one. Reading, YouTube got so much stuff
Right.
on it. So if you don't have the actual physical people that you know of, center your self around those people who are writing the books. Read it.
Mhm.
The motivational speakers are all on YouTube, so it's there.
And,
Yeah.
and what you have to do, you can't just read the book. You can't just go to the conference.
Yeah.
You have to put
Implement.
it into
Implement.
action, because that word right there, that action word, is what's going to separate you from the average person. Just like you said, the guy says 18 hours a day is what you have to do. See, people see the glory, but they don't know the story. They
Mhm.
see your glory, they see your success, they see you traveling the world, but they don't realize that it took you X amount of years to put yourself in a position to do that, but you did the action. You did what it took to get there. Guys, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You have to you have to do the thing if you want it.
Yeah.
If it's something that you want.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too, and I want you to chime in on this. So for those like,
20 seconds.
how afraid are you to be in your 70s and still
Mm.
right? How afraid are you that if you leave today or tomorrow, your family not in position? Like you gotta find that why. Not always, because you feel like it. Like what makes you so afraid that you'll do something about it? Like, because I think that's what's holding us up. We think we got more time, or we don't know what's gonna make you so afraid to make you move, to change, to make sure that if I leave today or tomorrow, my kid's okay.
Mhm.
Some of people don't even have life insurance yet. So I'm telling you, for 2024, between me in the real estate, you, Derek Todd, and a few others, we've got to really push this information. Now we can't make y'all drink, but man, like at least we got to do our part. And I know we
Yeah.
do.
Mhm.
We share the information, but y'all got to get scared, man.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that I've been hearing those quotes and I've been repeating them. because like one of the things that somebody said, like Inky, and Inky said, I don't know if y'all know Inky Johnson, the motivational speaker, and I knew this and I lived like this, but he hit me with it, and it just hit me for some reason. He said, man, he said, we take for granted. He said, every day we tell our loved one, or we tell our people, all right, well, I'll see you later, or our people. He said, you know how many millions of people don't get to see their people later?
Yeah.
He said, we don't have time. Cat Williams got probably about 50 million views now, but ain't nobody harping on when he said, live your day every day like it's your last. Ain't nobody talking about that, you know, and that was probably the most impactful part of it.
Yeah.
The profound thing he talked about. And even basically Kobe said it at one point, you know, live like you like the biggest mistake you can have is thinking you have time.
Absolutely.
It's thinking you have time. You know, and we just don't know. So, man, you got to do it now. You got to put stuff, and you got to do stuff that's rewarding to you in the sense of, even if you do not get it yourself. The one thing I've been on, and Daniel, my insurance guy, said this, and I've been saying, and he said, and it just hit me again. He was like, bro, he said, when I die, my son is an instant millionaire. And know what? You can live in comfort knowing that.
Right.
And I always talk, but it was so impactful because I said the same with my daughter. Based on the life insurance policies and the things that I have in place, if I die, my daughter's an instant millionaire. And what I kept saying is, just think if 25 of us do that with our children,
Right.
get a policy worth $1 million. That's 25 new millionaires.
Right.
It changes trajectory because what happens is our community always starts from zero.
Right.
And
Right.
starting from zero when all these other communities have a 5-year head start because their parents left them $500,000, $1 million, a house, a business.
Right.
So they got a 5 to 10 year head start. And know what's happening? We ain't catching nobody
Right.
with
Nobody.
a 5-year, 10-year head start.
Right.
And this is why we're constantly moving down the pole. And I sent my group this on this last note. I sent them like the wealth of all of the different nationalities. And it was the 10 through 1. And those 10, Black folks. Those 9, Hispanics. Hispanics have surpassed in America Black people.
Wow.
Wow.
We can't win like that.
Yeah,
man.
we can't win like that. Y'all, and I'm gonna tell you, and we'll close out with this. When we were talking to a financial plan about some things, the biggest thing that kept hitting my mind, yes, take care of what I need to take care of for my retirement, but I'm starting my grandchildren.
Mhm.
Right? So some of this stuff, because at least they're not starting from the bottom.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to start them all the way up here. But if you start them with something and
Yeah.
teach them about it, so then once they become 18, 19, have their job, it's already in place. They know what it's for, and they can just start to then contribute themselves.
Mhm.
Right? Like, so we got to start somewhere. So even if you feel like you done and over with, start with your children, start with your grandkids, guys. We got more information now than we ever had before. We got to do
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out there. Because like you said, my first mentor was Les Brown, and I never met Les Brown. He was my mentor off of YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so we have no excuses of not having information and people
Right.
that we can trust in.
I love it.
So, guys, like I said, taxes are normally boring. This was not a boring show.
Ooh, this was
This was
motivational.
very informative. It was definitely motivational. And again, like, share, subscribe. Go visit Brian at his website and give your website one more time, Brian.
lbtaxservice.com. LB as in living better. lbtaxservice.com. Our address, phone number, everything is on there.
So guys, go back, play this thing back. It might have been something that you missed. If you took one thing from this interview with Brian and just apply that and see what kind of difference it can make in your life. Because taxes, they may sound boring, but it can change your life if you do it right. So, Brian, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on with us,
Yeah.
baby. And if y'all notice that accent, I said baby. If y'all know what that is, that's
You
what it is,
heard
bro.
me? Come on, baby.
We definitely
Hey.
appreciate you gracing us here in the studios today, guys. And this has been the Relationship Show with your boy Rod, girl Charmaine, and our man Brian, the
Peace.
Tax Bro. Y'all have a good one.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.